The residents of the metropolis face an invasion of sound-sensitive aliens. Their only chance of survival is to reach the port, where evacuation by boat is taking place. The film's action begins in the bustling metropolis of New York City. Not far from the city, in a hospice, a cancer-stricken young woman named Sam is spending her final days with her cat Frodo. At support group meetings for the terminally ill, she reads her poetry. After one of these meetings, a nurse named Ruben invites her to join his group on a trip to the city to watch a theatrical performance and eat pizza. Dressed up and taking her cat along with her favorite music player, Sam boards the bus. The vehicle slowly takes her straight into the concrete jungle of the big city. In the audience in front of Sam sits a family. Their young son, drawn to her cat, turns around. However, the puppet show does not particularly amuse Sam. Taking her cat, she leaves the theater, immersing herself in the city's relentless street noise. Sam stops by a store to buy a chocolate bar. But when she returns, Ruben delivers some bad news. They need to go back to the hospice. Upset that the promised pizza is now canceled, Sam reluctantly boards the bus. Once the other patients take their seats, the bus begins to move, but they don't get far. The vehicle comes to a sudden halt, and the passengers stare at something outside. Curious, Sam joins them. The sky is streaked with meteors falling from space. One of them crashes onto the street nearby, kicking up clouds of dust and shattering windows with a shockwave. Dazed, Sam steps off the bus to take a look. However, in the thick dust, she can barely see anything, only confused people being dragged away into the unknown. Hiding behind a car, the terrified girl watches as inhuman silhouettes emerge from the fog, attacking people. She runs in terror, only to lose consciousness after colliding with an ambulance in the midst of an explosion. When Sam regains consciousness, she tries to cough, but a man from the theater named Henry covers her mouth and gestures for silence. Looking around, she realizes she is inside the theater surrounded by other survivors. Everyone remains deathly silent. Among them is Ruben. Overjoyed to see Sam, he embraces her before handing over her rescued cat. Soon the survivors hear the sound of a helicopter flying outside. A loudspeaker announcement warns them to hide and remain silent until authorities can rescue everyone. Moments later, a loud crash echoes through the area. Startled by the noise, the cat breaks free and runs off. Sam chases after him but freezes in a hallway filled with corpses. Suspicious footsteps echo outside, and through the window, a shadowy figure looms. Realizing it's safer with his owner, the cat rushes back toward Sam, but in doing so knocks over some wind chimes. Sam grabs the cat and hides just as a terrifying alien creature breaks through the door blind, but highly responsive to sound. The monster begins rummaging through the bodies, stopping just inches from Ruben, who had followed Sam. Suddenly, the roar of engines from outside distracts the creature and it rushes out. Through the broken doorway, a horrifying sight unfolds, a whole pack of aliens attacking humans. Back in their shelter, Sam washes the dust off her face in the restroom. Later, in one of the rooms, she discovers a radio operator monitoring broadcasts, noting evacuation coordinates, and advising against using bridges. She spots a globe marked with alien landing sites. They are all over the world. When a loud noise erupts outside, the most curious survivors, including Sam, climb to the rooftop. From there, they witness a terrifying sight, the city engulfed in flames. To make matters worse, Allied air forces launch a devastating strike on the bridge, ensuring that the monsters cannot escape Manhattan. From the terrifying sight before them, one of the men begins to panic. He starts speaking despite desperate pleas to remain silent. Henry tries to forcefully silence him, but in the process he slams his head against the wall too hard, causing him to fall silent forever. Descending back into the safety of the basement, Sam sits with Ruben. Suddenly, the electricity goes out and the emergency generator kicks in, making a loud rattling noise. Ruben quickly turns it off, but it's too late. The noise attracts a monster, which attacks and kills him right before Sam's eyes. Shocked by what she just witnessed and devastated by her friend's death, Sam climbs out of the basement and steps onto the street. Chaos and destruction reign all around. She enters a store with a shattered window and stocks up on supplies, grabbing flashlights and canned food. Stuffing everything into her makeshift loot bag, she heads down the post-apocalyptic streets with her loyal feline companion. Upon reaching a park with a fountain, she uses the cover of the running water to secretly open a can of food and feed her cat. She then notices a group of children hiding in the fountain and shares a chocolate bar with them. Overhead, helicopters fly by, broadcasting an announcement. Evacuation of survivors is taking place at the port via boats, as the aliens cannot swim. Taking the children with her, Sam moves toward the port while the sound of helicopters distracts the monsters. On the way, she narrowly avoids being crushed by a collapsing balcony, whose fall attracts the attention of one of the creatures. After waiting for the beast to leave, she and the children continue their journey toward salvation. More and more survivors join them as they get closer to the port. After ensuring the children safely merge into the crowd, Sam moves against the flow of people. She has other plans. Facing the certainty of death, she wants to taste the promised pizza one last time. However, even the quiet shuffling of feet, the creaking of suitcase wheels, and the sheer number of people create a background noise so loud that it draws the monster's attention. Panic erupts in the crowd, causing a deadly stampede. Sam falls in the chaos, dropping her cat. The feline escapes to avoid being trampled. Sam quickly crawls under a parked car, then dashes away through the panic-stricken streets, finally hiding in an alleyway. Meanwhile, the cat goes about its own business, wandering freely, chasing a mouse. He stops to drink from a puddle near a flooded subway entrance, where Eric suddenly emerges from the water. The first thing the young man sees is the cat's smug face. Eric follows the cat to the alley where Sam is hiding. He walks behind her until it starts raining. Using the sound of rain as cover, Sam tells Eric that he should head to the port, where authorities are conducting the evacuation. However, the shocked young man chooses to stay with her. On the way back home, Sam hopes to find painkillers in her apartment. They arrive after dark, but Sam has lost her keys, so she asks Eric to break down the door. Using the sound of thunder as cover, he succeeds on the second try. During their conversation in the apartment, Sam learns that Eric is not just a group leader, but also a law student. In turn, Eric realizes that his new acquaintance is a well-known and published poet. He reads her poetry from a book. That night, taking advantage of the storm, Sam allows herself to scream freely, knowing she won't be overheard or killed. Eric joins her in this moment of catharsis. The next morning, after waking from a nightmare, Sam takes her cat and quietly leaves while Eric is still asleep. She wanders through the deserted streets, enjoying the silence and solitude. Flipping through a book at a street bookstand, she notices that her cat is staring at something behind her. Slowly turning around, trembling with fear, Sam sees Eric. He has found her again. Aside from his persistent presence, he also brings her a notebook. As Sam stands up, she feels weak and leans against a display rack, knocking over a few books. The people around them freeze in terror, fearing the noise might attract the aliens. Deciding not to wait for trouble, the duo runs away and tries to hide in the nearest building. However, the revolving door gets stuck on a suitcase. Eric manages to push it through, but the force knocks the suitcase over, creating a loud noise. The aliens instantly react to the sound, forcing people to flee for their lives. Sam and Eric run frantically through the building, surrounded by monsters. Only after escaping back onto the street does Eric manage to throw off their pursuers by smashing a car window, activating its alarm system to distract the creatures. Breaking free, the survivors descend into the subway. Reaching the other side with a flashlight, they approach a staircase, but an alien is already descending. The people are forced to retreat and seek a detour through a partially flooded railway tunnel. Knee-deep in water, they trudge forward. Hearing the monsters growl, Eric lifts the flashlight and illuminates a hole in the ceiling where a blind alien peers down. The turbulent current masks their footsteps, but brings another peril. The water is rising and deepening. Eric begins to panic, and Sam has to calm him down with a whisper, risking unwanted attention. As they start to swim with the current, the monster pursues them, crawling along the ceiling. However, so much water is gathered that the alien drowns, unable to catch up with the humans. Sam and Eric cling to rocks near one of the openings, then make their way outside. They find themselves in the middle of an old church with a destroyed roof. Apparently, a fallen meteor had pierced it, creating a well from which they emerged. Without her medicine, Sam's condition worsens. After confirming which specific drug is needed, Eric leaves her to rest and heads outside to the deserted streets bathed in sunset, marked by recent carnage. Finding a pharmacy, he carefully searches for the necessary medication, double-checking against a note from Sam. His task is interrupted by the frightening appearance of a deadly predator, Sam's cat. After finding the medications, the young man returns to the church with the furry helper, but the cat runs off towards a nearby construction site. Eric is forced to crawl after it. Sneaking through the fence, the young man notices that, aside from the cat, aliens inhabit the construction site and their eggs are scattered everywhere. Eric climbs onto a beam after the cat, trying to stay quiet. As he crawls, the alien creatures tear open their own eggs to snack. However, they wouldn't mind feasting on a human, but he remains very quiet. After retrieving the cat, Eric returns to the church to Sam. There he gives her painkillers, after which the girl feels significantly better. She tells the young man that her father was a jazz pianist, and after his performances they would eat pizza at Patsy's. That's exactly where Sam wanted to go, to remember the happy days before her demise. In the morning, the survivors continue their journey along the deserted streets, but reaching Patsy's Pizzeria, Sam faces disappointment. The place burned down during the events of the previous day. To cheer up the girl, Eric takes her to a jazz club where her father used to play. Leaving Sam there, the young man departs. Waiting for his return, the girl connects a player to the speakers and runs her fingers over the piano keys, not daring to press them to avoid attracting the aliens. Eric returns with a pizza he found in another surviving pizzeria. They both eat it, feeding the cat as well. Stepping out onto the balcony, the girl spots a ship on the river with evacuated people, escorted by disgruntled monsters on shore. Unable to swim, they fear approaching the water. Sam returns Eric's jacket to him, hinting that it's time to leave. Grabbing the cat, they sneak to the riverside, trying to avoid encountering the aliens. The young man experiences another panic attack, but Sam calms him and hands him the fluffy pet. Then Sam executes her cunning plan. She runs away. Along the way, the girl hits cars with a crowbar, creating as much noise as possible. The alarms and strikes attract not only the attention of the people on the barge, but also the monsters. Taking advantage of the distracted aliens, Eric with the cat runs to the river. On the pier, he accidentally knocks over an aluminum can, drawing several beasts. Nonetheless, the young man manages to jump into the water at the last moment. Casting a final glance at Sam, rejoicing over the cat, Eric swims to the ship. A man from the theater, Henry, who survived with his family, helps him aboard. Embracing the wet cat, the young man finds a note from Sam in his pocket, thanking him for everything he did for her on the last day of her life, and asking him to take care of the cat. Sam returns to the burned-down Patsy's Pizzeria, where she admires an old photo. In it, she is together with her father. Then she steps out onto the deserted street, pulling headphones from the player. Music spreads through the neighborhood, and at the same moment, an alien appears behind the girl. The film ends there.